into the Rose Garden and announced these new across-the-board tariffs that he had been hinting at for a very long time. And this hits almost every nation, and definitely hits our largest trading partners. We're talking about tariff rates as high as 34% on China, 20% from goods from the European Union, and almost, no country was spared here. And President Trump has been calling this Liberation Day, liberation from U.S. consumers having to pay for foreign goods. He wants to bring manufacturing back domestically, and he thinks this is the right way to do it, even though almost every economy says this could really hurt U.S. consumers. President Trump's ultimate goal of bringing bringing manufacturing from abroad back to the U.S. That's not going to happen overnight. It takes time for factories to get built up. It takes time to hire workers. This is why President Trump acknowledges that there may be short-term pain, but he's already declaring victory. In a social media post this morning, he said the operation is over, the patient has survived. But if you look at almost all economic indicators, that's not necessarily the case right now. But there's no doubt that this is wreaking much havoc on the global economy. And world leaders have said and told President Trump, told the White House, that they don't like tariffs. They don't like this tit-for-tat trade war that's going to result if the United States goes ahead with these tariffs. But once the U.S. imposes their own taxes, other countries say they have no choice but to impose their own tariffs.
This it. Okay, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises. Let me say Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Call Halal La Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Racha Kodash. Double honors to my apostles, elder bishops, here in Great Millstone, who rule well. Salutations to the Lord's hopeful elect, scattered abroad. I'm the brother Taza War from the GMS New Jersey camp, and just here, all right, with another lesson in hopes to edify those of the hopeful elect. This video came across the feed. The real reason Trump is destroying the economy, right? So you heard it, and this guy Trump, which we think, through the spirit, we believe through the spirit that he's Nero coming back. The one that set fire to Rome and blamed it on the Israelites. Well, Trump, he believes that, or the agenda is to build America great again. But in our reality, the Most High have set Edom up into his own trap, meaning he created Edom, have set itself up to his own trap, and that's the Most High's will according to the Bible scriptures. All right. So I like to read this here. This is the book of Job, chapter 18 and 5. Yea, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. The light shall be dark in his tabernacle, and his candle shall be put out with him. The steps of his strength shall be straightened, and his own counsel shall cast him down. For he is cast into a net by his own feet, and walketh upon a snare. And this trap that he set up for himself is the NWO, which they've been planning for many, many, many years. And now they're acting upon it. They're establishing it as I speak. The confusion with lies and believing that they're making this place great, but instead, they're breaking it down to build it back better in a way where they can have full control. Everyone would be transhuman. AI, artificial intelligence, would play a major part in our everyday life. All right, we'll be ran by robots and computers. The money system is all digitized, digital. People losing jobs, or you will be, right? Because the robots and the AI is taking over. They have an agenda of what they call smart cities, which they're building. You're seeing these fires take place in different places here in America, so they can build it back into a smart city. I think about the fourth industrial revolution. That's what we're going into, right? When you look that up, it's a number of things that they're establishing right now, all right, in 2025. which is also, they have an agenda called Agenda 2030. They need things to be established by 2030. And the scriptures say, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. The light shall be dark in his tabernacle, and his candle shall be put out with him. Now Edom's light, right, which I think about Lucifer, because people in the in the world, they think Lucifer is the name of Satan, but in reality Lucifer just means light bearer. These elite Edomites, right, the house of Esau, hold light. Okay, they have knowledge, they have wisdom, they have understanding. The scriptures say they give a diligent search. They're more wiser than Daniel, because they search well. They diligently search to find the answers. Also, this is the kingdom of Esau. So the Most High did bless Esau, all right, when he cried to Isaac for a blessing. It was more like a curse bless. He said he shall live by the sword and have the fatness of the earth. All right. And that's exactly what Edom did. What he do? He lives by the sword and he has the fatness of this earth. It says in Job 9:24, the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. Esau, Edom, is also known as the wicked. I want to touch on Malachi, the 1st chapter. That come to mind too, because the Lord said they shall build, but I will throw down. And that's what they're doing now. So let's continue. It says, the light shall be dark in his tabernacle, and his candle shall be put out with him, because his witchcraft, his sorcery, his knowledge of which he holds is not going to work for him. That makes me want to get Isaiah 47. If I can remember these scriptures, Lord's willing, I want to bring them out. All right. It says, verse 7, the steps of his strength shall be straightened, and his own counsel shall cast him down. Hey, the Most High is having it where, well, I remember when Yahushua said, if Satan be against Satan, how can his kingdom stand? Roughly paraphrasing. And right now, these devils, they so wicked that they snake each other. A lot of them is right now is in position of power. Yeah, the heads of the triangle, all right, has an agenda. They play ball together. They make you believe the right versus left, the red versus blue, the plebeians versus patricians. They make you think that these heads, presidents, are in control, but really they puppets. And the ones that pull the strings and call the shots are in the background, not being seen. All right, and they take orders. All right, but for the people out here, that nations that go about their life, they believe that he's bad and he's good, or he's good and he's bad, and that's not the case. All right, they're all bad. So it says, the steps of his strength shall be straightened, and his own counsel shall cast him down. That's a part of that net, that trap. All right, if Satan go against Satan, how can his kingdom stand? They're gonna snake each other. They're in position of power right now. All right, so let's continue. For he is cast into a net by his own feet, and he walketh upon a snare. The elite actually think that they're going to be successful in transhumanism, which is implanting micro C-hips inside every body. All right, I think about how Yahushua said he shortened the days for the elect's sake, least no flesh will be saved. All right, because they think they're gonna rewrite what the Most High has written. They believe they can extend their kingdom when it tells us in the book of Job 14 that they have a boundary that they can't pass. All right, they believe they could defeat the sting of death with technology, when the sting of death Apostle Paul spoke about is a gift that's given to the Lord's chosen people. And that will be the time when Yahushua appear and he activate that new covenant where we be changed. We'll have new bodies. We'll be extraterrestrials. We'll be extraterrestrials, which means terrain is of the earth, celestials are the ceiling, right? Or what you can't see. We will have the body of the earth, but have the power of the celestial, all right? Of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. We will literally be gods, as is written, you are gods. We will be those guys, and we will be those judges, those rulers, those divine ones, sitting on thrones, all right, judging the nations. Okay, So it says, for he is cast into his own net by his own feet, because this is their plans. This is their agenda. This is what they established years ago. And, you know, the main guy that comes to my mind, as we speak about all the time, is Yuval Noah Harari. All right, Yuval Noah Harari, and all of his speeches over the years, how he speaks, you know, so proudly that AI is going to write the new Bible. AI is going to be the new God. The elites are spending billions of money on perfecting the flesh, that they're not going to die. They're going to live forever. All sorts of things. He said if a flood happened again, you know, he said the elites will live and we will all die. Right? He said God made organic, but they are making unorganic. You know, he even you know, proudly spoke against that, the Heavenly Father, right? He never denied that the God of the Bible didn't exist. He just spoke against him. He said the God of the Bible kills, you know, destroys agriculture and things like that. He said, but, you know, we have other resources. We don't need, if you do that, we got this. You know, that's proud. That's being proud. What's that? In the book of Sirach 10. Let me see if I can pull that real quick. You know, I'm just going to grab precepts that come to mind, you know. Let me make sure I remember. Sirach 10. Is it 10? Yep. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 10 and verse 7. Pride is hateful before the Most High and man, and by both doeth one commit iniquity. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Why is earth and ashes proud? There is not a much more wicked thing than a covetous man, for such an one setteth his own soul to sell, because while he liveth he cast away his vows. So the Lord said, pride is hateful before the Most High and man, and by both doeth one commit iniquity, which is sin. All right, going against the laws of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Verse 8, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Now Edom is the thief. What's that? The book of John 10 and 10. St. John 10 and 10. It says, Yahweh Shai said, the thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and destroy. But I am come to give life more abundantly. That thief is Edom. Okay? And what he did, unrighteous dealings, injuries, right? Riches got by deceit. The kingdom is translated from one people to another, and that's actually going to happen from Esau. The kingdom is going to be translated into Jacob, because it says in 2nd Esdras 6 that Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So it says, why is earth and ashes proud? Question mark. There is not a much more wicked thing than a covetous man, and that's Edom. He's covetous of Jake. All right, he want what Jake is gonna receive from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. He want that birthright and blessing back. But see, his foreparent Edom sold it, and it wasn't, you know, because of Jacob, you know, carnal nature of supplanting, even though his name was Yaquab in the Hebrew, which means supplant, but it was the will of the Father. That tells you that in Romans, the 9th chapter. Matter of fact, let's go there real quick, right? Just to prove a point, because you got the Mormons that run around here and say that Jacob was the wicked one because he supplanted Esau, his brother, his older brother. But that's not the case. It was the will of the Father that those things happened and that came to pass, right? So Romans 9, try to see if I hit the point. This is Romans 9. Okay, Romans 9 and 7. Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children, but in Isaac shall thou seed be called. And that's where the chosen line come through, right? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So this means Ishmael is not chosen by the Most High. Isaac was. It says that is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of the Most High, but the children of the promise are counted for the seed. For this is the word of promise. At this time will I come, and Sarah shall have a son. Right? Now, Ishmael's mother was Hagar. Isaac's mother was Sarah. Two different mothers. Right? One was a concubine. The other was an Israelite. Or promised a Hebrew. Right? So it says, well, they are Hebrew, Salakia. But Sarah was chosen. Okay, so anyway, right? But let me say this. Hagar, Ishmael's mother, was a heathen. So anyway, it says, verse 10, it says, and not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father Isaac, here's the point, for the children being not yet born, Jacob and Esau, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of the Most High, according to election, might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. So that's the point. All right. It says, neither having done any good or evil. Right. That the purpose of the Most High, according to election, might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. So when the Most High allowed Jacob to supplant Edom, that was because that was the Heavenly Father's will. It was according to the election that Jacob would receive the birthright and the blessings. All right. And this is why also, with the cherry on top, Rebekah, when she was pregnant with Jacob and Esau, she was having trouble. She went to inquire the Lord, and the Lord gave her some prophecies. He gave her the scoop. He said, 2 nations are in thy womb. They shall be separated from thy bowels. The elder shall serve the younger. One shall be stronger than the other. Right? So she knew the Most High's will. And that's why she helped her son Jacob to supplant Esau. Do you think the Most High made a mistake? Was Jacob ever punished for it? No, because it was the Heavenly Father's will according to election. So that's the point. You know, that's the point on that. Let's get back to Job 18:7. The steps of his strength shall be straightened, and his own counsel shall cast him down. For he is cast into a net by his own feet, and he walketh upon a snare. The jinn shall take him by the heel, and the robber shall prevail against him. The snare is laid for him in the ground, and a trap for him in the way. Right? Because they want to rewrite man in their own image. They want to rearrange your DNA. So this is the trap that, you know, Satan, let me say, the prince on the left-hand side, the angel that the Heavenly Father set up, you know, how can I say, instigating or helping them, you know, in their sorceries and their witchcraft to believe that they're going to pull this agenda, they're going to be successful in this agenda of their NWO. But it's a trick. It's a trick bag. It says, terror shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his feet. His strength shall be hunger bitten, and the destruction shall be ready at his side. It shall devour the strength of his skin, even the firstborn of death shall devour his strength. His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terrors. Who is the king of terrors? The Heavenly Father, Yahweh. All right? Bahashem Yahweh Shai. So through all of this, and, you know, in the midst of this, the prophecies of World War III, Jacob's trouble, the MOTB, they're not expecting Yahweh Shai to appear. Yahweh Shai said he comes like a thief in the night. You see? Michael is sent to what? Defend the elect of Israel. To deliver them. Let me grab that real quick. You know? Because his name is mentioned. And he's coming with Yahweh Shai. All right? And his job is to deliver the Israelites and to defend them. Which, starting with the elect. Starting with the elect. All right? Because those are the ones that's going to be delivered on this side. So this is the book of Daniel chapter 12:1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. Very specific. This is not stroked with a broad, with a brush, stroke, how do you say it? With a broad brush, and you just, no, this is very specific. It says, and at that time, thou people, which are the Israelites, right, shall be delivered. Every one that shall be found written in the book, that is the elect of the Israelites. So it says, at that time, Michael shall stand up, the great prince. So the Most High got, hey, we're princes. So I'm thinking about the angels, all of them great. And Michael is a great prince to the Most High. And he's going to be sent back with Yahushua to stand up and defend the Lord's elect. So this is how their place is going to be destroyed. And like I said before, with the little cherry on top, the Most High is going to destroy this place with thermonuclear fire. And that's to destroy this whole foundation. You will never be able to build ever again. All right? You won't be able to build again. And I was telling the brother Kahan, we was, chopping it up. And spirit was rolling. We were speaking on the end, the prophecies and things like that. And these videos coming out that these guys are updating on the rumor of war, World War III, Armageddon. Is that the overkill from the Heavenly Father? What is it? 200 million missiles, which we understand is nuclear warheads. And to understand the devastation that the Lord is going to do to Babylon, it makes sense. Because not only Edom has his foundation on the earth, meaning on the ground, he has also foundation under the ground. So when those nuclear missiles and that overkill, he said the earth shall rock to and fro. The Most High is really going to put his anger into those nuclear warheads and that bite, that fire, to bring forth that contamination. Is that it's gonna dig, it's gonna bury what's in the ground, man. Because they got a lot of dark, sinister technology and in the ground. Not just in building structures with computers and data systems. No, they got shit under the ground. So when the Most High, let me bring this out. It's two scriptures I'm thinking about. 2 Peter 3, right? 2 Peter 3 and 11. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved. Matter of fact, let's start at 10. It says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with great noise. And that heavens is talking about earth, because earth is considered a heaven, but not pass away as if the earth is going to be destroyed. All right? The Lord is going to destroy, he said, the lake of fire. The lake of fire is North America. All right? It says, in the which the heavens shall pass away, which the fashion of this world, right, shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Right? Now, I was thinking about that one, so I was thinking about this one too. Isaiah 13 and 6. How ye, for the day of Yahweh is at hand, it shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. And they shall be afraid, pains and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another, their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of Yahweh cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. So now I was, Salakia, I just got to read these out because I was thinking about them, but it's something that let me see, Salakia. This is Joel 2 and 1. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Yahweh cometh, for it is nigh at hand. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness. As the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong, there have not been ever the like, neither shall there be any more after it, even the years of many generations. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the top of the mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array, which is those thermonuclear missiles. All right, intercontinental ballistic missiles. Okay, it says, before their face the people shall be much pain, all faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men, they shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march every one on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. Neither shall one thrust another, they shall walk every one in his path, and when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. Because the Most High is going to put his spirit, all right, and those nuclear warheads and those missiles that's going to be shot from one continent to the other to hit this place called Babylon the Great. And he says none is going to run into each other, or none is going to be able to destroy it. So no defense system of Edom or any nation is going to be able to stop, all right, stop these missiles that's coming. It says they shall run to and fro in the city, they shall run upon the wall, they shall climb up upon the houses, they shall enter into the window like a thief. The earth shall quake before them, the heavens shall tremble, the sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. And Yahweh shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great. For he is strong that executeth his word. For the day of Yahweh is great and very terrible, and who can abide it? Or excuse me, who can abide it? Yeah, all right. And that's really what I want, because you know, like I said, how the Most High is gonna really, you know, just destroy this North America and becoming a lake of fire, because the foundations of Edom, his power structure and his technology, you know, and witchcraft, is not only just on earth, it's under the earth as well, in the grounds, man. And you got Elon Musk striving to build more under the ground, you know, take us under the ground, like what he's talked about. Instead of having traffic, you know, we can go to a stop. He said he'll build what's that, railroads, or what do we call it, highways under the ground, and moves at, you know, 100 miles an hour to get you to your, you know, look, man, the Lord about to destroy this bitch, man, right? And they're falling into their own trap. So call halal la Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. All right, so Salakia, Job 18, right? So, you know what I'm gonna do? Let's continue on in the video, and I'll close. Hopefully it's not a long video. All right.
It's the Nations Conspire channel. Welcome to today's show. The real reason Donald Trump is destroying the economy. Well, that's a very good title for an article, but of course we know that none of these mainstream media outlets, liberal or conservative, are going to tell the American people the real reason that Donald Trump is destroying the economy. And as you heard, stock markets are plummeting, but not just in America, around the world right now. And what's different this time is just that it's not just the US economy that's being tanked. It's the global economy that's being tanked. We've obviously seen times where the stock market has gone down. We've been trained when the stock market goes down to assume that it's going to go back up. But is this the time that the economy, that the stock market finally tanks for good? Because in order to move forward with Agenda 2030 and the New World Order, the dollar has to tank. Global economies have to tank. And while many people were thinking that a world war would bring about economic destruction, how about just good old-fashioned sabotage, like I've been saying for years now? Sabotage, sabotage, sabotage. While nobody can make any sense of the tariffs that are going on, everybody's turning a blind eye to it and not realizing the plan has been death to America all along. Remember in Leave the World Behind, that movie that so perfectly Barry Sortoro, Barack Obama's production company, produced, that told us how they were going to bring down America? Remember that?
You know, I'm flying in the middle of nowhere, dropping off thousands of these. I have no idea what it says.
Death to America.
What?
Death to America. But this part, it definitely means death to America. I remember from the game I was playing. Death to America.
Of course, that movie had the blueprint in it and the things that are to come. But Trump's tariffs have shocked the global markets at levels unseen since the pandemic. And for anybody out there, I've been saying it for a while. I've been saying it since the pandemic. If you thought that that was the Great Reset, think again. The Great Reset involves bringing down global economies. Agenda 2030 is all about bringing in a new world order, and Donald Trump is the one who's doing it, and the MAGA conservatives can't even see it. Why? Well, because they constantly get distracted with manufactured news stories that keep them stuck in the left-right paradigm and divided with their neighbors over political affiliations, right? That's why stories like this have come out in the last couple of days, and they're obsessed with it, right? Say his name, Austin Met.
All right, so you know, you heard it. I'm gonna wrap this up. You know, Lord willing, I pray you were edified. All right, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Racha Kodash. Double honors to my apostles and elder bishops here in Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to the Lord's elect. Shalom.